So that over there, that right there is Pardall Tunnel. That is how you come into UC Santa Barbara from the college town. And that's over here, the campus, which is UC Santa Barbara. This is where I've gone to school for the last 4 years, and in 2 weeks, after 16 years of schooling, I will be graduating and moving on to the next chapter of my life. It's crazy to think about, but I've made so many friends and have been grateful to meet a ton of beautiful people. But when they're done with school, they're done with school and they leave and you rarely hear from them. And I'm thinking about that to myself. Like, when I graduate, is that how it's gonna be for me? Am I just gonna be just another person who leaves and is eventually forgotten by the classes after me? This is the reason why I really want to make something that I can leave behind for people to take into account for future generations. So these are things that I've learned over my last 4 years about what I wish I learned earlier in my college career. And here we go. So now I'm going to a workshop hosted by a crew called Electrobots. I personally don't know too much about Electrobots, but I have seen their performances on World of Dance, and I'm pretty sure I've seen a lot of the dancers on other teams like Outlaws. So they're crazy, they're good. The reason they're here is because they're performing at the Real Loud Film Festival, which is also tonight. I have a film in there, and UCS Breakin' is also performing. It's a busy but fun day.
Hey, are you taking class?
Yes.
How you doing?
Oh, she? Good. You saw Kelly yesterday, huh?
I did!
Oh my God.
She was like, is it okay if I invite Kevin Go? And we were like, hi, Go.
Thank you, Jesse. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Good job.
Yeah, no, thank you guys for coming. See you guys.
All right, catch you later, man.
Thank you. Whew. All right, that was excellent. I have not taken a workshop in a while from anybody, and I've never done robotics before, so that was interesting, but it's always good to learn new stuff. Okay, story time. I remember 4 years ago, right before I got into this school, I looked up a lot of YouTube videos on UCSB and what to expect, and I came across a video by a guy named Andre Taylor, and he made some really funny videos and I loved it. That was probably one of my lifelines for learning about UCSB culture and just like what to expect when I got to the school. That video helped me so much, and I figured, why not make my own? If I could go back in time and talk to myself as a freshman, what would I tell myself? I thought about that and I wrote down 5 things that I wish I was more aware of when I was freshman, and I want to share them with you guys right now. So this is the first one. It's very important and I'm still dealing with it, but you don't know as much as you think you know. And I don't say this to degrade or demean anybody, but I'm speaking from personal experience when I say that when I was a freshman coming into college, I was an entitled little as a high school senior. I felt very much on top of the world. I felt like I had learned everything that needed to be learned, and I had a pretty big ego. If anything, I felt like that worked against me in the long term, because by acting in this way, I closed myself off to learning. When I realized when and how to check my ego, a big filter was removed from my perceptions, and I was able to begin learning in a much more efficient way. So doing this actually sets you up and opens up the gates to faster learning. So that's my second point, which is to explore and discover and learn as much as you can while you're in college. Don't close anything off. If it even mildly interests you, then I highly suggest that you try it. I was fortunate enough to have breaking when I came into college, and I put a lot of my time and effort into that because I knew that's what I wanted to do. At the same time, I kind of wish that I was a little bit more open to everything else. A majority of my time went to breaking, sure, but that also required sacrifice for a lot of other things. So if I could start again, I would tell myself to take the leap and try other things that you aren't like invested in, but at least just try them out, because college is the time to learn. You are literally a full-time learner when you're in college, so you might as well take all the opportunities you can to learn. That being said, step 3 is take care of your health and take care of yourself. I know it's very popular in college culture to flex on people and how hard you can work and just grind from AM to PM, and you don't stop. While that has a glorious tone to it, it's very important that you get your rest, because if you're not resting and you're just exhausted all the time, you're going to be working very half-assedly. I don't know if there's a better way to say that, but if you are going to sleep 3 hours a day, you're definitely not going to function as well as you would be with 7 to 8 hours of sleep. don't just be buzzed on caffeine the whole time, because that eventually is going to have after effects. I found that when I wake up and I drink water immediately, my body gets hydrated and energized in a way that isn't as jarring as caffeine, but is consistent throughout the day if you continue to drink water. I'm sure you've heard the phrase, you are what you eat, and there is truth in that, even though it's a really weird phrase. So if you're eating fried stuff all the time, you're going to feel greasy and you're going to feel slow and fat. I speak from experience, so please do yourself a favor, buy some fresh groceries and just try to eat clean. Brown rice, chicken, vegetables, that's an egg. I'm a simple man, so I can eat that pretty often. And not only that, I saved a lot of money doing it too. So there's a plus in that, but take care of yourself. So step 4 isn't as necessary, but I would highly recommend that you documented your experience. Documenting has its own utilities for every single person. It depends on what you need from it. My first few years of college, I just tried to schedule everything in my head, and that never works. If you need to remember 7 or 8 things you're going to do in the day, at certain specific times, you're definitely going to forget some of them. So I recommend you use a journal to write those down. At the same time, when you document, you can remember the good moments that happen, you can reflect on them, and it'll help you grow. So I'm not exaggerating when I'm saying this is literally like my second brain, because it's my external brain. I can write down anything I need to on it. I can write down whatever I'm going to do. I can write down what I have done, and I can write down how I'm feeling. And I can always refer back to it when I need to. It's been very helpful in not only keeping track of stuff, but also enjoying myself. It's like having a second brain. Make sure you're writing these down too. Use a journal and write all these 4 down. So far we have ego, 2, explore and learn, 3, health, 4, document, and I forgot to turn this on. My girlfriend got this for me. I think I mention that every time I turn it on, but it's honestly so cool. Thank you, Pinar. Last but not least, number 5, be present as much as you can and appreciate the things around you. Appreciation is the idea of being able to look at what you have with a different perspective and count your blessings, because not everybody is as privileged and as lucky to go to school, to go to a university, to have so many friends around you and get an education. And classes can be intense and tough, but honestly, when you look at it with the glass half full, not only will your quality of life improve, but I think you'll have just an overall better time. And when you are in those golden moments, when you're with your friends, surrounded by a community of people who are just like you, we don't realize how fleeting these moments will be at the time. I definitely didn't. When I felt like I was a freshman yesterday, and now I'm about to graduate, and it really went by like that. If I could go back in time and tell myself when I was a freshman that it was really going to feel that fast, I really wished I was more in the moments for the moments that counted. You know that feeling when you had a long day and then you just get home, you turn the shower to like a warm temperature and you just step in and you just bask in that heat. You can't really think, you can just like, you're just in it. That's what I'm talking about. That's the feeling of being present. If you can relish those moments, then you'll really be making the most of your time in college. That is a very short, quick rundown of everything that I would have told myself. So yeah, I really hope this helps some of you guys as you approach this next chapter in your life. I'm super excited for you if you're just about to enter. You're about to have the time of your life. And I'm sure you've heard that from people, but they're not kidding around. We'll continue talking, but I better go to rehearsal. Let's go. Real Out Film Festival is a silent film festival hosted by UC Santa Barbara. And for the last 3 years, I've submitted films to this festival. And I've been fortunate enough for the last 3 years to have a film. And this will be my last one. I feel like I've spent a lot of time stressing out about events like these, but like I said before, if you're not in the moment, then you're gonna regret it. So I'm just gonna have a good time and spend my last Real Loud with family and friends. Let's do it.
We're going to continue our night with our next performance, so please put your hands together for UCS Break-In.
having a post-festival meal. I don't know if this is in focus, but we're having a post-festival meal. Look who joined us. Hello. It's the greatest crossover in history. But there's still one more person missing. Hi, baby. Oh my goodness, it's so windy. It went well. Yeah. He's gone.
Yeah, had a long
Josh is here. How do you feel? It's over.
It's over.
First off, thank you to everybody who made this happen. Our performance ended up being very fun. I'll never forget this specific performance at Real Loud. Thank you all for supporting us, and it meant a lot to me, and I felt the vibe. I really did, and I'm gonna miss you guys. Damn. Thank you for tuning in and allowing me to share my thoughts. I'll talk to y'all later. Thank you for tuning in. Peace.